the phone to Veronica for her message to you and to the world.
Being in physical reality at this time is challenging. There are a lot of co-created events occurring that can be disturbing to those who are sensitive and can be disturbing to those who are not sensitive, because the energy of it is very thick and dense. We would say it's important for all of you, though, to take a look at what is good in your life. There's a lot of bad stuff circling around, but if you stop for a moment, separate from that, and say, where is a good thing in my life? Now, we have some who say, oh, there's nothing good in my life. And we say, well, perhaps look a little deeper. Find one thing every day to be pleased about, to be happy about, to be grateful about, and to have appreciation for. By focusing on the one good thing that happened today, you are allowing your consciousness, your energy, your thoughts to go to that and reside there. And that will help you, as a consciousness, create more of those things. It's very easy to focus upon all the negative. And unfortunately, in your culture, it's pretty much thrown at you every day. I mean, you're pelted with it every day. We'd say back up from some of that and decide that you're going to be positive and not get caught up in that vortex of, oh, the world is falling apart. Oh, there's all these terrible things happening. We agree they're happening. But to alleviate that and to turn that around, all of you can't get sucked into the collective of, oh my God, this is terrible. Each of you individually need to stand strong, back up and say, okay, I'm going to find one thing in my life today that went well, and I'm going to keep my focus there, because that's going to help the big collective. If everybody does it, that helps the big collective. And we don't think there would be any of you that would argue that things need to be different, that moving into all this negativity has to stop. You are powerful enough as an individual to do that. So we'd say, don't feel that you're diminished, or, okay, well, I'm just one person, how could that be? If each one of you decided, hey, I'm going to be more positive today, and I'm going to focus and find one good thing that happened today, and that's where I'm going to let my energy sit for the rest of the day. It will help you personally, and it will help you as a collective of energy on the planet. This is a time of great growth. This is a time of great change. And there are a lot of negative things that do need to change. But you can't change them if you're going to get all negative with it. You have to decide that you're not going to. That you're going to say, all right, that was a pretty terrible thing. But I'm going to take the one thing that I found today and place it in front of me as a beacon of light to everyone else, that there is hope. The probability of a return to Eden is what we call it, where you go back to this magical place of peacefulness. It can happen. But if you let yourself become part of the collective negative thought process, it won't. So every day, the responsibility is upon you as an individual. Even if you've had a lousy day, you find the one thing and say, this is what I'm going to designate energetically to this day, and it's positive. Because if each of you do that, regardless of the fact of what's going on otherwise, you will be of help. We have many ask us, how can we be of service? How can we fix this? What can we do? We say remain positive and find those positive moments in your day and put them up as your badge of honor and allow that energy to shine out to everyone else in a positive way. This is a time of great change. Careful not to slide into the negative perspective of the cleanup. You want to create an atmosphere of peace. And that means you have to find the peace within you at an event in your day that was peaceful. That will help create the atmosphere that we know all of you are looking for.
Thank you, Veronica. And she's here. Or she says, we're here. So, Veronica, the first topic I'd like to bring up is something that comes up all the time for people writing in, people have readings, and it has to do with soulmates and what some people call our twin flames. And there's a whole series of different things people are interested in with those two. One is, how do they find their soulmate in their twin flame and recognize it? Another one is, what happens if they lose a soulmate that they think they have, and like they could be married for 40 years and somebody dies, or maybe they just have a bad breakup. If they lose their soulmate, does that mean they're only half a soul? A lot of people think that you need a soulmate to complete you, that you're only half a soul. There are other questions about soulmates, and if I have time, I'll mention them, but you probably will cover them. So hold on. Please talk about soulmates and twin flames.
Well, we understand clearly that in your culture there is a lot of emphasis upon finding that perfect match, that energy that complements you. We don't like to use the term completes you, because all of you are very vibrant individual souls without any interaction from another soul. We do say in the culture a lot of emphasis is put upon it being, okay, soulmate, one, that's it, and when it's done, it's done. And we do think that's not accurate. There are a lot of good energy matches. Everything is based upon frequency. And there are some frequencies, other people, that are not good matches. And then there are those who are perfect matches, and you run into them, and the culture has deemed, okay, that's your soulmate, that's your, quote, twin flame, and everyone lives happily ever after in that moment. But most of you know that sometimes that isn't the case, that sometimes a person will abdicate a good energy match moment, or this, quote, twin flame moment. And that leaves the other person sort of sitting there going, okay, well, now what? And there's a lot of devastation around that, because they'll say, okay, I had my one shot, it got messed up, and now I'm adrift in a linear reality where I don't know quite what to do next. We'd say it's important to know that good matches do exist, but the emphasis is on matches, not match. There can be many in a particular lifetime that are extremely good matches for you. So the concept of twin flame and soulmate, we do say that that is a label for a good energy match. The unfortunate part is that in the culture it has been deemed that, okay, there's one. And if that gets messed up, well, too bad for you. We would say very much that there can be many within a lifetime. Not necessarily all showing up at the same time, because, boy, would that be confusing. But we'd say that if you are with someone and you try very hard to make the energy work, and it's so dynamic when you're with them, but they may, for some reason, decide it's too much energy, can't handle it, and I'm bailing, I'm abdicating the arrangement. We'd say in that moment, do not despair. Yes, there will be a bit of grief, because it could have been magnificent had both parties engaged it in the proper way. But sometimes it's too much for some, so they abdicate. It is important to realize that, yes, you do need to recover from that, because it's ultimately a huge disappointment. But know that the probability of running into another one is just as equal as it was to the running into the first one. So do not despair. Do not feel like, I give up, I can't do anything about this. We'd say take a deep breath and continue forward in your reality, because there are more than one good match in the cosmos for each of you. We'd say that also it's important to remember that perhaps you've been married for 40, 50 years to your soulmate. You were lucky. That happened. They commiserated. They came on board and said, yes, 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 I want to do this with you. And they do it. And then you reach an older age, let's say 70s, 80s, 90s, or sometimes even earlier, maybe in the 30s or 40s. And the other person for whatever reason, moves out of the reality. Their lifespan has completed in a linear way. Now that leaves the person who's left behind, whether it's male or female, again, devastated in grief because they've lost the connection, they've lost the link that sort of kept them anchored in the reality. Again, we'd say, if you have a soulmate that has crossed over or a twin flame that's crossed over, the majority of the time they are mostly very concerned for you. They look back and say, oh, what's he, she going to do without me? I'm worried about her or him. Most of the time, a good, quote, soulmate will send another, not necessarily to take their place, but to have adventures with you, to talk to you, to be a part of your life in a very good way so that you're not alone. So we would say very much it's important to remember that can be many good energy matches. If a partner moves on to another realm, most of the time they're going to help send you someone so that you're not alone. So we'd say that the concept of soulmate, twin flame, it's kind of a true thing, but the absolute parameters built around it in the linear culture is inaccurate. It's all about good connection, a compromise of energy that comes together and creates an atmosphere of harmony. It can be done more than once in a lifetime. And to think otherwise is a very difficult thing to get through. And it's not true. So we would say take a deep breath and understand the concept of twin soulmate so that you can allow yourself to say, okay, I found it once, I can find it again. Or that the fact that the soulmate who was crossed or left will send you someone. So that is how we feel about that, Mr. Crawford.
Okay, Veronica, and just a specific follow-up. For those people who think they're half a soul unless they find a soulmate, maybe they go through the whole life and they don't find somebody that they think is a soulmate. Is there any such thing as a half a soul? Do you really need somebody else to complete you?
No, you do not. The important thing in each life is to expand your consciousness and awareness within you. Now, if you run into a soulmate, it's not that they're going to complete you or make you whole. You're not a half a soul. You're a full soul. And meeting them just expands the harmony even further. But if you never ran into someone who was considered a soulmate, you would still be a full, vibrant soul yourself. And to sit and feel that you're only half is completely inaccurate. You are full. You are an abundant energy all by yourself. And a lot of times that thought process is just what's needed to attract someone who's a good vibrational match with you, quote, the soulmate, so that they can come to you much quicker. So always be your full self. Never define yourself as a half a soul. There's no such thing as a half a soul. So decide today that you're going to be your full, vibrant self. That can bring about a lot of wonderful things.
Thank you, Veronica.